We'll transition now to the Saints and the Titans. Titans win it 23-21 up there in Nashville. A lot of noteworthy things in this game, but a disappointing loss. These are the games the Titans are winning right now. They're winning really close physical games where they do enough to win at the end, and the Saints have given a couple away, and this is one they definitely had a chance to win and didn't do it. I thought a couple of really key moments. A lot of people are going to point to clearly the roughing the passer penalty that pulled an interception off the board. I thought it was a horrendous call, just terrible. I thought it was an awful call, and that is a huge play in the game. Of course, the 2 extra points missing is a massive deal, and it seems to continue to happen to anyone who's not Will Lutz. Saints bring out anybody that's not Will Lutz, and they just simply can't get the job done. I thought maybe the most overlooked portion of this game that I haven't heard a lot of people discuss is the drive right before the half. The Saints had it at the 35-yard line and a chance to go get some points there. You give up back-to-back sacks by Simeon. Then you false start, 10-second runoff on third down, and they get nothing. And that's a spot right before the half on the road. When you're given that kind of field position, you got to go get some points, and they did not. Just everything that could go wrong did. You got a chance to get a 2-point conversion. You get a penalty to back you up. You got to do it from a little bit further. They throw the wheel route to Ingram. Just a sloppy game, a game that they didn't get many breaks, and a game that inevitably they went on the road and lost.
Yeah, to me, that was a game that was begging for Alvin Kamara to make some impact. You rush it 21 times and you only get 86 yards, and really Taysom really was the only spark to me in the run game that they had. To me, just getting those easy explosive runs, but that offense is tailored around that. But even being said, I think the play of Trevor Siemian has to be commended. I think for a guy who's been thrust into this lineup and has played the way he has and kept them in these games and really, played well in these fourth quarters, you have to commend that. Just a very, very tough loss, and 2-point conversion away from doing something special and forcing that thing to overtime, but just couldn't quite get over the hump.
Just can't quite figure it out because they're just not consistent. That's what it is to be figured out. They go out and they let Matt Ryan and the Falcons go nuts. Meanwhile, you saw what the Falcons did yesterday. I think they scored 3 points. So, I mean, they were totally overmatched. And the Saints defense looked terrible. Then the Saints come out in this game. They hold the Titans to the fewest yards they have all season. 264 yards is a low for the Titans this year. Third down, Tennessee was 3 out of 12. The defense played pretty good. They just didn't get enough out of the offense early, and then there were just some plays that weren't quite there. The roughing that takes away the interception is just massive, and then you'd like to have your field goal kicker make a couple extra points, to be quite honest. Pulled them both left. One, Sean Payton said he hit fat, and the other one he just pulled. It's just that's a game that, looking at it 3 weeks ago looked really, really tough to go win. But you had your defense and you had Jameis Winston. Then you take Henry and Winston off the field. You're not really sure what either team is. Kamara doesn't play. The Saints just don't have any playmakers on offense. And when you're trying to spend too much time going to Marquez Callaway, we talked about it all week last week. There's no need to totally rehash everything, but they just don't have any playmakers. It's a terrible spot for Trevor Siemian to be in.
Yeah, you saw that game, especially early on in that game. You really saw the need for a true number one. You saw why that offense was missing a Michael Thomas. You saw why they used Alvin Kamara so much and kind of ran him into the ground to the injury status that he is now. And that's what this offense is missing. It just make things so much harder for yourself when you don't have elite guys who can just get open easy, make it easy pitch and catch for the quarterback. You got to kind of climb the mountain, and that's exactly what the Saints did, which is why you got to commend their effort. But you got to go back to the importance of beating teams you're supposed to beat.
Yep.
Just losing those tough games at home to the Giants and to the Falcons. We just saw how the Falcons played last weekend. And so the more you look at that game, it's like, man, we really let one get away. So it's so important to be consistent in this league. And you see now a 5-4 football team really have to, pay the consequences for that, for not being consistent week in and week out.
Do you think Sean Payton goes and finds another kicker this week?
Oh yeah. That look, there gonna be some guys showing up to that facility real quick tomorrow morning, and I would not be shocked if they move on before the end of the week.
It's just, you just can't have it. And it just doesn't seem that hard to find 32 guys on the planet that can make extra points consistently and can be consistent field goal kickers. And the Saints just haven't been able to find that. And so, yeah, I think, you gotta try to look elsewhere. And hate to say it, but I mean, could have probably cost them the game. I mean, there's always different places you can go, and will this happen, if that happened, if this happened, but extra points, man. I realize it's not what it used to be, but make it.
Yeah, I think every kicker, like you said, especially the 32, they look amazing on a Tuesday morning, just kicking off a tee,
Yeah.
no guys rushing, no crowd,
Yep.
no pressure. It's a lot different when those lights get on, and all 51 other guys are depending on you to make that kick, and sometimes it gets shaky, man. And the guys who haven't done it in this league year in and year out and aren't consistent, sometimes that pressure gets too big, and you kind of hit one fat, like Sean Payton said. So they're gonna keep spinning the wheels until they find a guy that can give them some consistency. But you see how important it is to have a kicker. It's extremely important.
Surely is. So the Saints fall to 5-4 on the season. They are 3-2 away from home. Well, in road games, I guess I should say, because we still got that Packers game that you've got to count for. But where do you think they are at this point, having lost 2 in a row? Their next 3 at Philly, home Buffalo, home Dallas. This is the stretch we talked about.
Yeah.
It was staring them in the face, and it's not off to a very good start.
Yeah, well, they got some help. The Bucks losing always helps. So you're only 1 game back, and you have that win over them, so that's huge. So you're still in it. I think if the Bucks kind of get out to that normal start, and then they're 1 loss in, and you're now sitting there with 4 losses, you can start worrying about it. You still play them again in this season, and then obviously you're only 1 game back. So as easily as it is to say, man, this is things suck. It's we're falling off here, but you're right in the thick of things.
Yeah.
I think you're right there to win that game. It's still a competitive team. You still got that defense, and Alvin Kamara will be back. So if I'm a Saints fan, I'm not getting too up in arms right now. It's still a ton of football left.
Mark Ingram's a contemporary of yours, right around the same age, and he became the Saints' all-time leading rusher, passing Deuce McAllister's mark of 6,096 yards that had been held since 2008, and Ingram finally goes over the top of it. I don't know that Mark Ingram will be looked upon as favorably as Deuce McAllister, who was kind of beloved in his time. Now obviously works with the Saints radio network, but it's been a pretty good run. I know there are people in this radio station, the guy 3-6, who said it was a terrible pick, wasted too much to do it, and he wasn't that good. The longevity was pretty there. He was a pretty productive player, and still continues to do so now.
Yeah, I was in the camp of I love that signing, not to make Mark the starting back, and you're going to feed him 20 times, but I think he can definitely have a role, especially behind Alvin Kamara. And you saw him, man, over 100 yards all purpose. That's why you bring a guy in to a team for situations like that. And I think Mark definitely had a great game. To think that he would have a game where he had 4 catches for 61 yards. I would have never guessed
A little
that.
wheel route that they
Yeah.
did hit was really pretty. They went back to it on 2-point conversion, kind of, a little tighter quarters, and it was covered up pretty nicely. But I don't think of Mark Ingram as a wheel route guy very often, but they got to find someone who can make a play. Like nobody's left.
Yeah. You really look at this roster, especially like a pregame roster. You got Trevor at quarterback. You got an old Mark Ingram in the backfield, your tight ends, and you look at the receivers. You don't think of an explosive offense, but the way Sean Payton calls plays, he's always going to keep you competitive. And having guys like Mark Ingram and putting them in position to make plays, and he did. And so that's why I always have faith in Sean Payton, because just looking at that Saints offense, there's not to just feel great about, but they're right in that game with an 8-2 Tennessee Titans football team. So you got to tip your cap to Sean Payton.